का स्वागत करती हूँ 5th इंडिया पीएसयू आईटी फोरम में और तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ आपके इन इतने सालों के साथ के लिए। I welcome you all on behalf of Governance Now at the 5th PSU IT Forum. We started the digital transformation journey 5 years ago. लोग जुड़ते गए और कारवा बनता गया. So thank you everyone who has joined us today and will be joining us today later. So in last 4 years of the PSU IT forums, Governance Now is actively engaging PSU IT community and technology solution providers for addressing their digital transformation needs and challenges. Over these years, the forum has showcased technology solutions that offer myriad possibilities, changes in the public sector organizations for improving their efficiency, innovations, competitiveness, productivity, and how the public sector enterprises can overcome various business and operational challenges with digital innovation. We always believe that CPSC transformation is critical to India's development, and PSU has played a strategic role in the growth of India. Today, PSU has evolved as a commercial organization with their objective shifted to profit while still retaining the responsibility of social cause. And COVID-19 pandemic has restated their importance. But to remain competitive, one of the biggest challenge the public sector faces is the role of being competitive, and here is the role of digital that comes in. The digital transformation in PSU journey started with digitization of data, but it has traveled much beyond that, from cloud to new disruptive technologies to transform their operations. As the forum is an effort to bring together the key stakeholders from CPSCs, state PSUs, and IT industry experts on a single platform to discuss digital transformation challenges and need to remain competitive and to find the solutions for that. And with COVID-19, it has become even more important for PSUs to leverage the right technologies for interaction, collaboration, and managing their leaner and remote workforce for successful project execution, planning, and risk mitigation. Not just that, this is the time when PSUs need to maximize their digital investments by strategically leveraging new technologies as well as data and advanced analytics to optimize policies, program resources, payments, and so चलिए आगे बढ़ाते हैं सफर को, but before we begin today's discussion, I would quickly like to let our esteemed delegates know how they can ask questions and become interactive with our panelists and speakers. There would be live interaction after the panel discussion. If you have any question, you can always put in your question box, which is below on your dashboard. And you can, if you face any technical difficulties, you can write down in the chat box, or you have the program coordinator's numbers also with you. So without much delay, I would like to request Mr. Kailash Nath Adhikari, Managing Director, Governance Now, Shri Adhikari Brothers Group, to welcome the August gathering with his address. Mr. Adhikari.
Thank you, Pragya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 5th installment of Governance Now India PSU IT Forum. As we all know that we are now living in a new normal world, and this new normal world actually mandates us to meet in a virtual forum. And thus, the 5th installment of India PSU IT Forum, we are holding in a virtual format. Ladies and gentlemen, as Pragya mentioned in her opening remarks, that it has been a fantastic journey at Governance Now when we started off with the concept of PSU IT Forum. There was a simple notion in mind, as we all believe at Governance Now, that CPSCs are the true torchbearers of India's economy. And if India's economy has to grow, CPSCs are an integral part. And when we talk about digital India and the kind of transformation technologies that are happening, what is the pace and what is the level at which transformation is happening in our CPSCs? With this simple thought in mind, about 5 years ago, we started doing PSU IT Forum. And with the immense support of all the central public sector enterprises, as well as state enterprises and technology players, we have come so far. In today's discussion, we have a lengthy agenda, which we talk about in detail about how the digital roadmap will happen for PSUs and sectoral PSUs, oil and gas, defense, powers, and various other sectors of the PSUs. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all our esteemed panelists, delegates, speakers, as well as sponsors to the 5th installment of India PSU IT Forum. And I hand it over to you, Pragya, for the first panel discussion and tech talk. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And thank you so much, Mr. Adhikari. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our first session of the day, the convergence of IT and OT in oil and gas PSUs, for which I would like to invite the speakers of the session, Shri Alok Khanna, Executive Director, Strategic IS, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Shri Rajiv Chandra, Executive Director IS, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, Shri Narayanan Ramakrishnan, Executive Director IS, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, Shri B. Paparaju, Group General Manager E&T and head SCADA ONGC Limited, and Mr. Alan Chances, EMEA Senior Industrialist, Fortinet, Mr. Raveen Sikka, Principal Industry Consultant, SAS, and the moderator of the session, Shri Abhishek Jobanputra, Oil and Gas Digital Advisory, PwC. But before we begin the session, we have a short tech talk on analytics best practices in energy sector by Shri Naveen Sikka, Principal Industry Consultant, SAS, where he will be taking us through the journey of successful implementation of advanced analytics solutions, especially for the energy sector. Over to you, Mr. Sikka.
Sure, thanks, Pragya. So I'll just present my screen over here. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So in today's discussion, it will be a really short one presentation. I mean, short to make a context before the panel discussion. So today I'll be just going over to talk about the imperatives in oil and gas energy business, the key challenges faced in implementation of analytics projects, and the best practices in analytics implementation. So not a detailed one, but a couple of points in what would be the successful journey towards the analytics implementation success. So in terms of the imperatives for energy business, of course, my key panelists are already aware about it, that there is an industry disruption which is already happening in terms of the market fluctuations in crude oil prices. In last couple of months, a lot of fluctuations have happened. There has been a shift in the product demand, finished product demands, the short-term and the long-term insights one needs to gather that in terms of the changing market scenario. And also because of the aging technologies, one has to take care of the unplanned downtime for our assets. Apart from the industry disruptions, there is, already we know that there is a data and more data in terms of the internal data, external data, many forms of data which need to be combined from our assets, from our customers, markets, competitors, stakeholders. We all are aware that there is a lot of data, and still, we sometimes feel there is less data. And at particular times, when we for our assets, there is one more imperative that that EHS compliance is the prime most consideration for our board level compliance purposes. There is no non-compliance is not an option. So for all our assets, that is the prime most consideration, that the environment and the safety aspects are considered before we take into changing in the technologies. From the assets point of view, when we said there is a lot of data which is already generated, but still, there are augmentation which is needed from sensors perspective to collect more data from each of the assets, because of these assets are aging. So to monitor and predict the near real-time plant performance parameters, many a times the data sometimes is insufficient to predict the performance parameters. Then most of the in our past, when we have interacted with our oil and gas counterparts, the customer success, their customer success, providing value to their customers through prediction and optimization in prices, demand, quality, and cost are now becoming the prime considerations. The key challenges what we are currently what we have discussed in last couple of years in terms of the data is there is a missing data. When we start our predictive analytics or prescriptive analytics journey, we see the data is there, but there is some bit of missing data. Maybe the data is not collected, or there is a bad data or errors in the data. So these kind of anomalies we see from the data perspective. There is a feature engine aspect which needs to be incorporated when we start the advanced analytics process. In terms of the feature engineering process, there has to be a perfect handshake between the business and the IT teams. Most of the times, it takes time for the business users to get onboarded and provide the real meaningful data parameters. There are outliers and extreme values which are coming from the data. When I said about the bad data and the errors in the data, we have seen a lot much extreme values or the outliers which do not help in preparing a good model. Then connectivity with external sources. Many a times the technologies are available to connect to different technologies, but sometimes we do fail to connect to different sources because of the proprietary protocols. So there, the help of the vendor teams are needed. So these are the challenges in terms of the data we have encountered in the past. In the analytics journey discovery phase, there is a lack of architecture to support analytics lifecycle. When we say lack of architecture, most of the times those are point-to-point integrations which have happened for a particular purpose. There is a lack of IT and OT integration to do the proper predictive analytics. So those lack of architecture we have seen in the past. Long time to interactively build analytical models. Because of data issues, because of architecture issues, and because of lack of feature engineering, there is it takes a lot of time to build an analytical model which with good confidence level and good accuracy level. Then there are sampling error or bias. The data which gets provided, most of the time, the data science engineers, the period for which the sampling is done or based on which the model is done, model is prepared, that sampling error also leads to anomalies. So there is a need for data science talent within the company itself, and external help. The specialized needs are also faced by a lot of our customers. In analytical deployment purposes, because the assets, the assets, the quality of the feed, as well as the operational parameters on day-to-day changes. So many a times their model performance deteriorates. So the tuning has to be carried forward on time to time, which most of the time is ignored by the users who are already using those the models deployed after in the production. The key prerequisites, what we see for the successful implementation of advanced analytics solution is, from the people's perspective, there is still a significant shortage of people with right skill set to exploit new data sources using the modern technology. In terms of the processes, how the machine learning model deployment process needs to be automated and streamlined. These all needs to be seen. Then from technology perspective, what kind of tools, technology the analytics professional require in the deployment, in the production process. Those need to be looked into, that or they have a comprehensive libraries of the model and how it has to be deployed in the production environment. Then the model interpretation also is one of the key process within the technology, while considering as a prerequisite for successful implementation. In terms of the data, how we can automate the data preparation capabilities to allow users to make use of the data immediately and effectively. So there, allocation of right skilled resources, talented resources, promoting the analytics culture within the organization. In terms of the processes, combining the feature engineering, statistical, data mining, and machine learning techniques, using various ML algorithms, selecting proper, appropriate champion and challenger models for real-time deployment, and then ensuring timely review of model performance are the key prerequisites for successful implementation from the process point of view. So in terms of the best practices, what we think is streamlining the data preparation. If the data is available from IT and the OT, there has to be a proper data management layer in which the frequency at which the data is being gathered, that needs to be streamlined. There is a more complex data which needs to be handled from IT and OT domains. More models need to be created because each model has its own characteristic, be it a decision tree model or a random forest model or neural network models. So the random forest model may not give good results wherever the decision tree models root cause analysis has to be done. More features need to be put during the model building process. When I say more features, more parameters in terms of combining the first engineering principle based in terms for the refinery, the thermodynamic principle based features also need to be incorporated so the models give better results. More granular segments need to be there, going into deep. When we do, for example, the forecasting, it has to be done at the lowest granular level. Then collaborate across all skill levels from decisioning point of view. From computing point of view, fast in-memory multi-threaded technologies are available. So one can go for parallel computing as well. Compare machine learning algorithms. Like I said, that random forest models or decision tree models or neural network models, each has its own capabilities. These can be combined together to prepare an ensemble model also. So so one needs to give a rigorous thought during the model building process. Algorithms also. Auto tuning of model parameters, like I mentioned, each day the plant parameters are changing, operational parameters, the feed parameters are changing. So auto tuning of model parameters are needed during the implementation or the model deployment process, in which the errors minimization takes place, that is between the actual and the forecasted one. Model interpretation, I said, because most of these models are black box models. So at the end, when the end user gets the output, the model interpretation is one of the important process which explain in a verbatim basis what has gone within the model, what were the key parameters which have been considered, where the anomalies were considered, how those anomalies were addressed to, and that is how the user gets an insight what went into those black box models. And then auto ML is also auto machine learning, when I say the champion and the challenger models, because there are hundreds of models for one particular use case may be built. But from that, which one is performing the champion model, which one is the challenger model, that needs to be monitored as a model deployment process. Within SAS, in order to implement this, we generally follow the sample, explore, modify, model, and access methodology. We call it as SEMA methodology. That correct sampling has to be done. We do the exploratory data analysis. Doing the representative data structure needs to be for the data science. This is up to the data science person. He studies this for 2 or 3 weeks, and then explore which is the best, which are the parameters which affect the mostly in terms of the correlations and explorations when he does from the output parameter perspective. Then he modifies the data in terms of transforming the data, doing the feature engineering like I explained. And then finally, the modeling aspect comes, the neural method, the decision tree models, the logistics model, and all those models are then the outputs are first it is trained, then validated, and then tested in terms of the real production environment data. And finally, it is assessed. The model assessment takes place, that which one is the challenger model, which one is the champion model, and it keeps on changing on day-to-day basis. The decision tree model may become a champion model, and the other day the random forest may be selected. So from that perspective, or the ensemble model may be selected. So this SEMA process SAS recommends in terms of the successful implementation of analytics. Thank you. I hope I am on time, and if any questions, please let me know.
Sure, we will take the questions post